god morgon ikväll. God morgon, kom du hem sent i natt. God morgon, förlåt att vi stör. Innan vi går ut i dagens jobb och spring och skubb, sjunger vi en liten sång i våran frukostklubb. God morgon, eten ska bära fram en hälsning. God morgon till dig.
Ja, god morgon och välkommen till ytterligare en förinspelad frukostklubb som jag sänder på min reservkanal eftersom huvudkanalen är avstängd i 2 veckor. Men nu kan man söka på mitt namn Denny Abrahamsson och hitta den här reservkanalen. Den kommer som 7:e träff. För några dagar sedan så var det omöjligt att hitta den överhuvudtaget. Hur mycket man än scrollade neråt så dök den aldrig upp. Men nu har den stigit upp i flödet i alla fall, så jag hoppas ju att flera kan hitta hit. Och jag ska börja med en video om att TikTok är ju köpt av en sionist och man ville ju inte att användarna skulle kritisera Israel så mycket och propagera för Palestina. Men det har man ju sett till nu att sådana videos får inte sändas längre, utan nu är det Israel som gäller. Och jag börjar direkt att spela upp den här.
The TikTok USA takeover is official, and many people are saying they long for the freedom of expression that we received under the Chinese Communist Party running of TikTok. There have been a lot of problems. Now, I'll just say up front, TikTok is saying that this all, Sagar, has to do with some sort of power outage at a data center, which I think when we give you the details here of the type of content that people are struggling to get circulating, you're going to be understandably skeptical about their explanations here. So this is one of the wildest ones. Let's put this up on the screen. And I've tested this personally. I had some friends and family who tested this as well. If you try to send a direct message that has the word Epstein in it, they will not let you send the word Epstein or any other content that includes Epstein. And so you can see that up on the screen. This is what you get. This is the exact same thing that happened when I tried it as well. You get this little exclamation point, and then it tells you that this is like a potential violation of community standards and that they're worried about the safety of their community. So that one is for sure. There have also been on Mac, if you go ahead and jump forward to the to E4, some of the reporting that we're getting from different users about the way that their anti-ICE posts in particular are being completely suppressed. So you have the Democrats here, DropSite has seen their reporting on various topics be suppressed. Jessica Burbank is another one who has seen her TikTok views just absolutely fall off a cliff. I know the I've Had It ladies have experienced this as well. And it seems, if we put E5 up on the screen, it seems specifically to be tied to any sort of post about the shooting of Alex Pretty in Minneapolis. Any criticism of ICE, sort of broader Trump criticism as well, seems to be not getting pushed into the algorithm whatsoever. So that type of content from creators with large followings is getting next to no views. Well, TikTok is claiming this has to do with a power outage. You know, I'm not, Sagar, a technical wizard here, so perhaps there is some way in which a power outage magically creates, you know, algorithmic suppression of content that just happens to be unfavorable in the eyes of the new, you know, Ellison-backed ownership. Perhaps there is some technical explanation for this, but this seems pretty hard to believe given the specific things that are being blocked, suppressed, and censored.
Yeah, I just don't get it. So here's the statement. They say suffered a cascading systems failure that caused multiple bugs, such as creators having difficult posting new video, seeing content showing 0 views, marked a rocket. But how would that explain the DM's issue? I did see
the Epstein thing is
right. The Epstein thing is just, I mean, that's the craziest one. I'm glad we started with that.
undeniable.
But I mean, I did see some NFL creators who were telling me that they had the same problem with 0 views. So it is possible, you know, the 0 view thing. If I had to guess, what has happened is that they've had a rollout of their so-called like political community guidelines, and that it's just clunky in terms of the way that they're rolling out their code under like the new guidelines or under the new ownership, and they're still trying to figure out like de-ranking and all of that, or how to rank, you know, such content under the new regime. That seems to me, because notice they're saying the 0 views thing was a data center. That's believable, like I said, with the NFL stuff. What's not believable to me is the DMs and the searchability, some of the stuff that we've seen previously, especially when we know that the very like aligned Zionist, like literally, who is in charge now of the platform. We've had multiple people who have come out and have talked about it. Can we play that SOT actually?
Yeah.
Here? This is E2 about the critics of Zionism. Let's go ahead and cue this up just to show you what some of the new standards on the platform are going to look like.
Yeah.
Ja, att inte kunna söka på namnet Epstein, det är ju bara för att han var en Mossad-agent, alltså han jobbade för Israels säkerhetstjänst. Och allting som går emot Israel, det kommer att stoppas på TikTok. Men som tur är så, jag ska visa sen att det dyker upp konkurrenter till TikTok, för många hatar ju det här med censur. Och jag ska lägga upp en liten kort introduktion till en annan plattform som man kan gå in och bli medlem på. Men nu kör jag vidare med den här videon.
And so this is from TikTok's CEO. This is an older clip, but just to give you a sense of some of the codification of their new hate speech rules and the way they're thinking about these things.
We made a change to designate the use of the term Zionist as a proxy for a protected attribute as hate speech. So if somebody were to use Zionist, of course you can use it in the sense of you're a proud Zionist, but if you're using it in the context of degrading somebody, calling somebody a Zionist as a dirty name, then that gets designated as hate speech to be moderated against. Over the course of 2024, we tripled the amount of accounts that we were banning for hateful activity. We also have, I think, over 24 Jewish organizations that are constantly feeding us intelligence and information when they spot violative trends. There is no finish line. There's no finish line to moderating hate speech, identifying hateful trends, trying to keep the platform safe. There's no such thing as an end game.
No such thing as an end game.
Well, keep in mind, this kind of fits
unless-
with the ADL comments, remember, about the AI lawyers and how they have an army of AI warriors who are auto-sending stuff to law. I mean, this is very, very scary stuff. I mean, look, yes, the war, you know, is winding down and some of the content, but like the point is that this machine being put into place can just be deployed for basically anything, and they're going to use, you know, their private guidelines. I really think this is the time. I think I've seen some Democrats talk about this. Didn't Gavin Newsom say that he was going to announce investigation? Everyone's concerned, you know, you're talking about the Dem creators and all that. The thing is that this is now been going on for 10 years, you know, ever since 2016 and Facebook. And it's just, we have to like put this to bed, especially TikTok is now under US ownership. We need transparent guidelines that talk specifically about moderation, publish standards, and then the public has to be able to weigh in. I've talked previously, I'm curious for your view. I think we should just pass it, take it off of their plate, and just be like, look, from now on, if it's consistent with the First Amendment, it's up there. And then in terms of deranking and all of that, for advertising purposes, you may have the ability, you know, to have some sort of tweak. But even then, it gets sketchy because, as you and I have seen, you know, on YouTube, like if you get a video that's demonetized for ad purposes, it may still have tremendous news value, doesn't get a lot of views, or something just doesn't appear to pop off. But I think at this point we need national legislation, just period, end of story, that sets like standards. Otherwise, this is what we're going to get. You have Elon on the one hand, Grok putting like girls in bikinis, and then you've got this nonsense. Like the
Literal
point is,
girls.
it cannot
Literal girls.
literal girls, like
children.
actual
Yes.
children, right? We didn't spend enough time on that. I got lost in the sauce. But yeah, like literal girls. Like we need serious federal guidelines and legislation from AI and to social media. Like my new cause celeb for AI is I think that anything AI picture generation should just be banned for people, like for anyone who's alive. I just think there's nothing good that can come of it. All of these image renderers, look, sometimes it's fun for thumbnails and all that, but like, no, the societal cost and the destruction and the ability to trust like any video that you see, it's too much. Same here
It's
with
not
TikTok.
even close to the benefit.
We need published benefits, we need published rules. This is what we do. This is how we derank. This is exactly how much it's going to go down. That's the very least. And at a macro level, we should just pass like anything consistent with the First Amendment. It's good to go. Period. End of story. The government's taking it off your plate. This is how it has to be.
Ja, jag håller ju med om att det har gått till för långt med AI att kunna fejka, göra videos och lägga ord i mun på sina motståndare och få det att se ut som att de har sagt någonting som de inte har sagt. Och det borde kriminaliseras. Det ska inte få förekomma. Så att, och det här också att man kan säga att man är en stolt sionist och stolt över det, men att kritisera sionismen eller att kritisera Israel, då blir det censur. Så att, ja, vi fortsätter där.
We can't have this. We're living under literal oligarchical fighting control, depending on who is in power and who depends and tends to have like the ear of the White House, like under the Biden administration. It's too much.
Yeah, and I mean, that definitely needs to happen.
Right.
You got to break up. I mean, it's just you can't. The Ellison family, how many media properties they control
nuts.
at this point?
Yeah.
And when you have billionaires for whom, like, there are a lot of people who are leaving TikTok right now. I don't know the numbers, and they're going to this other app. Shout out to Upscrolled as like a TikTok alternative. I myself downloaded and playing around with it to see what it's all about. They are degrading the experience of TikTok for a political agenda. And because he has so much money, like it almost could be like a catch and kill situation where he doesn't really care that much if the platform has the widest reach or is the most financially successful if it is serving a political agenda. And that political agenda does dovetail with their financial interests because they want to, make sure Trump is happy with what's going on there so that whatever business deals they want to effectuate get a glide path through this administration. And so those are the kind of dynamics that are controlling these platforms, not anything that's in any thought of like the public interest or what's appropriate under a speech or First Amendment standard. That doesn't even enter into the calculation whatsoever. So yeah, I mean, I think they genuinely don't care that much whether TikTok is successful as a platform, so long as it is serving the ideological interests of Zionists and also of the Trump administration.
Very possible.
That's certainly what it looks like here in the early days. And look,
it can serve other ends, for their business empire. Sometimes it's like you can hurt TikTok, but right now, Paramount Skydance needs a merger acquisition or whatever to go through. So everything is like an interconnected web.
Completely. And TikTok is probably nothing profit-wise compared to that broader enterprise. Like that is the bigger picture, which is why corporate consolidation and corporate ownership of all of these media entities is such an incredible, issue and such a pernicious issue as well. So I don't know. It's certainly looking like TikTok is not going to be the same, at least for political content. And they may just turn it into, like I saw someone saying they're effectively turning it into threads where political content is deranked, where it's essentially, pushed to the sidelines in favor of just like, the most anodyne, like sports, cooking, things that are
make all the
politically
money.
Neutral and safe.
Yeah, that's where all the money is made. Remember, there are channels that do probably 1/5 the amount of views that you and I will get, who will make probably either the same or even sometimes more money because they cover very blasé thing, and the advertisers don't want to be connected. Like, advertisers don't like political content. They never have. Unfortunately, you can't kill the democratic want of a lot of people to like want to know what the hell is going on. And it's always been inconsistent. YouTube, all these other platforms, they would kill political content if they could. Or like in their ideal world, they don't want it there. It's really not. It's much more a pain in the ass for them than it is in terms of a moneymaker. And yeah, I think it's really unfortunate. This is why, again, I think we need federal legislation. People need to come in, set a clear standard, and just be like, this is it. This is how we go from here on out. Because every 4 years, I mean, watching Zuckerberg go from being a Biden suck up to standing behind Trump at the inauguration, and then now here with the TikTok, it's just too much to constantly be swinging and like sucking up to the people in power, from COVID censorship to denouncing it. It's just like, it's been such a whirlwind over the last 10 years that at a point I'm like, this needs to be a settled question. We need to put down something and just go from there. And like you said too, these people can't be allowed to control everything because there's danger. There's danger to it for us as consumers, for you in terms of the information that you're literally getting there, and then also at a major, like, more democratic question. This is just basic antitrust law. It just needs to go.
Well, and the last thing I'll say is just really important to keep in mind why this, ownership ban and shift to the U.S. leadership of the company, why it happened. And, the rationale that actually pushed this over the finish line was all about Palestine. There may have been some other ideas to begin with, and people who wanted it, like yourself, Sagar, for different reasons.
Yeah, pushed it for years, but yeah.
But the stated reason, people like Mitt Romney said this outright, that this actually got over the finish line under a Democratic administration, let's keep in mind, was because they didn't like that people were speaking out with regard to the genocide in Gaza. They did not like the pro-Palestine sentiment. Remember Nikki Haley talking about for every minute people spend on TikTok, they become 30% more anti-Semitic or whatever. Like, that is actually the argument that led to this. And so no one should be surprised by the consequences that we are seeing, and by the crackdown on a variety of types of political speech. So we'll see what happens when they get their power outage figured out, and what the state of TikTok is after they get all of that worked out. But so far it's looking pretty grim.
Yeah, that's right. All right, let's get Dominic Khan standing by.
Hey, if you like that video, hit the like.
Ja, det har ju kommit nya plattformar som ska konkurrera då med TikTok och inte censurera, och den främsta just nu heter Upscrolled. Och jag har en liten video här hur du kan ladda ner den på datorn. Det går tydligen att ladda ner den på mobil också. Men här kommer den videon.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I'll show you how to sign up on Upscrolled from your PC. First, open your browser and enter to Google. Now, tab Upscrolled and search. Now, click on the first link like that. Once the website is open, click on Newsroom in the top. Wait a moment and scroll down and click on Sign Up here. Now, click on Sign Up. Finally, put your first and last name, your email, your phone number, and your work. Congrats, now your account is created successfully. Thanks for watching this video. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a daily.
Ja, så har jag en video som handlar om Melania Trump, alltså Trumps fru. Och hon har ju stämt en journalist som heter Wolf. Och han har alltså stämt henne tillbaka. Och här kommer en video som handlar om det, och det har ju gjorts en film just nu som handlar om Melania Trump. som ger en helt annan bild än vad Michael Wolff ger, som har då blivit stämd av Melania och Trump.
For years, the narrative has been that Donald Trump knew Jeffrey Epstein, but Melania was just the innocent girlfriend caught in the frame. But new filings claim that Melania was very involved in the social circle that preyed on young women. They allege that her introduction to Donald Trump wasn't chance. It was an arrangement. And most explosive of all, the claim that her first intimate encounter with the future president didn't happen in a club, but on the customized Boeing 727 known to the world as the Lolita Express. In this video, we are ignoring the $40 million propaganda film. Instead, we are opening the court files. We are examining the Alex Pretty backdrop that has the nation on edge. And we are going to expose the specific, terrifying details of the lawsuit that claims Melania Trump isn't trying to protect her reputation. She's trying to bury her past. To understand why this legal battle is so vicious, we first have to understand the PR disaster unfolding right now. It is January 2026. The Trump administration is facing the most intense civil unrest of the second term following the shooting of ICU nurse Alex Pretty by immigration officers in Minneapolis. The country is burning. And in the middle of this fire, Amazon MGM Studios decided to release a $40 million puff piece. The documentary, directed by Brett Ratner, a man who himself fled Hollywood years ago amidst sexual misconduct allegations, was supposed to be Melania's coronation. But the authentic data shows a different picture. According to The Hollywood Reporter, tracking for the film is catastrophic. Box office projections are in the low single digits. Why? Because the timing is grotesque. Just last night, Melania hosted a VIP screening at the White House. The guest list? Mike Tyson, Tim Cook, and Brett Ratner. While the National Guard was deploying to Minneapolis, the First Lady was eating popcorn out of custom black and white boxes. But the real problem isn't the tone deafness, it's the counter-programming. Because at the exact same moment Melania is trying to sell us a story of grace and patriotism, Michael Wolff is selling a story of complicity and crimes. And unlike the movie, Wolff's story is under oath. Let's dive into the authentic legal data. This isn't gossip, these are court filings. In October 2025, Melania Trump's legal team sent a threat letter to journalist Michael Wolff. They demanded a retraction of his claims and threatened a $1 billion defamation suit. Usually authors back down. Wolff did the opposite. He sued her. He filed a declaratory judgment action under New York's anti-SLAPP laws, essentially daring Melania to prove him wrong in court. And this week, in a January filing, Wolff's team dropped the hammer. They detailed exactly what Melania wants to suppress. The core allegation is simple but devastating: the Epstein connection. We all know the official story. Melania met Donald at the Kit Kat Club in 1998 during a Fashion Week party. She was introduced by Paolo Zampoli, a modeling agent. Wolff's filing argues this is a cover story. Wolff alleges that while Zampoli was the face, Jeffrey Epstein was the engine. The filing claims Melania was part of what Wolff calls Epstein's culture of models of indeterminate age. These weren't just fashion models. They were the social lubricant for Epstein's high-power gatherings. Wolff claims that Epstein knew Melania well long before she was Mrs. Trump. He alleges that Melania was a frequent guest at the dinners where Epstein would scout for his friends. But here's the line that has the White House terrified. In the filing, Wolff recounts a taped interview with Jeffrey Epstein from years ago, tapes that he claims to possess. In these tapes, Epstein reportedly brags, "I was the one who introduced them. The first time he slept with her was on my plane." The implications of this are nuclear. If Melania Trump's relationship with the president began on a plane notorious for sex trafficking, if her introduction was facilitated by a sex offender who later died in prison, it recontextualizes her entire existence in the Trump orbit. She's...
Ja, Michael Wolff har ju haft har band där han intervjuar Epstein, och enligt Epstein så var Melania Trump alltså Epsteins flickvän innan Trump tog över, och att enligt Epstein så låg de med varandra för första gången på Epsteins flyg. Det här berömda Lolita Express.
Stops being the graceful first lady and starts looking like something else entirely. A survivor, an asset, or a participant? Melania's defense is aggressive. Her lawyer, Alejandro Brito, calls these claims false, defamatory, disparaging, and misleading. They point to the fact that Melania's name does not appear on the flight logs in the same way the victims' names do. But Wolf's filing counters with a chilling argument: you don't log the inventory. This brings us back to the Einstein visa. For years, questions have swirled about how Melania Knaus, a catalog model with a modest portfolio, secured an EB-1 visa reserved for people of extraordinary ability, the same visa granted to Nobel Prize winners. Wolf's filing suggests we look at the sponsor. Who had the power to pull strings at that level in the 90s? Who was known for helping models fix their immigration status in exchange for access? Jeffrey Epstein. The "she was there" claim isn't just about the plane, it's about the parties. We have the photo from Mar-a-Lago 2000. Look at it again. Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein, Donald Trump, Melania Knaus. They look comfortable. They look like a quartet. Wolf argues that you cannot be very involved in that specific social circle in the year 2000 without seeing something. The massages, the young girls, the recruiters. Wolf's lawyers are demanding to depose Melania. They want to ask her under oath, did you ever see a minor at Jeffrey Epstein's home? Did you ever receive cash from Jeffrey Epstein? Did Jeffrey Epstein help you get your visa? This is why Melania is fighting so hard. In a defamation suit, truth is an absolute defense. If Wolf can prove his claims are substantially true, or even that he had good reason to believe them, he wins. And to prove it, he gets discovery. He gets to demand emails. He gets to demand diaries. He gets to demand the real story. Melania Trump isn't suing to get money. She is suing to stop the discovery. But by suing, she has triggered it. It is the ultimate legal backfire. You might be asking, why isn't this on the nightly news? That is where the 2026 reality kicks in. President Trump has revoked the press credentials of major networks. He has launched his board of peace with Putin and Orban, creating a new global media ecosystem that filters out negative stories. The Melania documentary is part of that shield. It is art as alibi. By flooding the zone with a $40 million movie, they hope to drown out the PDF files circulating on the docket of the New York Supreme Court. But Wolf is a rogue element. He has released the tapes. In a filing just yesterday, Wolf submitted a transcript where Epstein discusses Trump's preferences. Epstein allegedly says, Donald likes them young, but he likes them loyal. Melania was the perfect pivot. She didn't ask questions. She didn't ask questions.
Ja, jag ska inte spela upp hela videon, utan jag ska läsa någonting också. Och det här är från Fria Tider. Efter censuren, TikTok utmanare växer snabbt. Missnöjet med TikTok växer efter att plattformen fått oligarker som ägare i USA. Nu rusar nedladdningarna av alternativa kortvideoappar, däribland Upscrolled och Skylight, sedan användare anklagat TikTok för att ha infört omfattande politisk censur. Efter TikToks ägarförändring i USA kommer rapporter om att ord som Epstein automatiskt censureras och nu söker allt fler användare nya plattformar. En av vinnarna är Upscroll, en ny app för korta videoklipp som på kort tid klättrat till andra platsen bland gratisappar i den amerikanska App Store, bara slagen av ChatGPT. Upscroll marknadsför sig som ett forum där alla röster ska behandlas lika. På bolagets webbplats lovar man ett alternativ till de stora teknikjättarna med noll censur. Inga skuggblockeringar, inga betala för att synas favorisering. Bara autentiska kontakter där ditt innehåll når de människor som betyder mest, skriver företaget i sin presentation. Bakgrunden är TikToks uppmärksammade uppgörelse i USA, rapporterar Rest of World. För att undvika ett förbud gick det kinesiska bolaget nyligen med på en affär på 14 miljarder dollar förmedlad av Trump-administrationen. Resultatet blev ett amerikanskt dotterbolag där ägandet hamnade i ett konsortium med oligarker kopplade till Israel och Donald Trump. Bland dem Israel-aktivisten och Oracle-grundaren Larry Ellison. Samtidigt har anklagelser om censur eldat på användarflykten. Enligt kritiker ska TikTok även ha begränsat spridningen av videor som visar immigrationsmyndigheten ICE i Minnesota, liksom annat innehåll kritiskt mot Trump. Upscroll beskriver sig som en politiskt neutral plattform och säger sig vilja stå fri från både politiska agendor och algoritmstyrd styrning. Tjänsten finns tillgänglig för både iPhone och Android och profilerar sig som ett yttrandefrihetsalternativ till Meta, Instagram, X och TikTok. Upscroll finns eftersom vi var trötta på att vänta på att Big Tech skulle göra det rätta, skriver företaget vidare. Vi behövde en plats där människor kan tala fritt utan att spela algoritmspel eller bli straffade för att de säger sanningen. Även andra TikTok-utmanare växer snabbt. Skylight Social eller Skylight har enligt TechCrunch passerat 380 000 användare på kort tid. Plattformen som stöds av miljardären Mark Cuban och bygger på en öppen källkod uppges redan ha över 42 miljoner användare globalt. Och nu ska jag läsa lite om risken för ett krig i Iran, och det här är från Samnytt. Trump varnar Iran, attack kan vara nära. På onsdagen ökade USAs president Trump trycket på Iran och skriver på sociala medier att en massiv armada är på väg mot landet. Han varnar för att en stor attack kan vara nära förestående. Enligt Trump rör sig armadan snabbt med stor kraft, entusiasm och syfte och leds av hangarfartyget Abraham Lincoln, samma som skickades till Venezuela då man avsatte president Nicolás Maduro. Precis som med Venezuela är den redo, villig och kapabel att snabbt fullgöra sitt uppdrag med snabbhet och våld om det behövs, skriver Trump. Då Trump tidigare uppmanade Iran att förhandla vägrade de, vilket resulterade i attacken Operation Midnight Hammer. Nästa eventuella attack kommer att bli mycket värre, försäkrar presidenten. Det var i juni som Trump godkände attacker mot de 3 iranska kärnkraftsanläggningarna i en operation administrationen hävdade utplånade landets kärnkraftsprogram. Under de senaste veckorna har presidenten förespråkat ett nytt ledarskap i Iran och hotat med att använda våld när regimen svarade med våld på de stora protesterna i landet. Och det sista jag ska läsa, det är från SvebTV Nyheter. Fico, Slovakiens president, säger EU bygger sin politik på hat, antiryskt hat. Även Slovakien kommer nu stämma EU för importförbudet av rysk energi, rapporterar TASS. Enligt landets premiärminister, jag sa president, han är premiärminister, Robert Fico, bygger EU numera sin handelspolitik på rent hat mot Ryssland. Ungerns regering har tidigare meddelat att man kommer stämma EU för beslutet att förbjuda import av rysk energi. Men det kommer även Slovakien göra, säger landets premiärminister Robert Fico. Det kommer bli 2 separata men samordnade stämningar. Fico bedömer dock att Ukraina-kriget kommer vara över när importförbudet ska träda i kraft 2027. Och då kommer alla att rusa till Ryssland för affärsförhandlingar, tror han. Enligt Robert Fico är importförbudet det sista steget i EUs energisjälvmord. Det är en lösning som antogs enbart på grund av hat mot Ryssland. Jag avvisar hat som något som ska avgöra internationella relationer, säger Fico enligt RT. Och jag har en liten till video att spela upp som handlar om Ghislaine Maxwell och vad heter han? Kash Patel då, chefen för FBI. Han sa ju att Epstein var ensam om det här, att det fanns inga andra som han förmedlade kvinnor till, och det var ju, han ljög ju så att tungan svartna. Och här kommer en kort video om det då.
Who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these young women to besides himself?
Himself. There is no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals. And the information we have, again, is limited.
So the answer is no one?
For the information that we have.
In the files?
In the case file.
So that was obviously ridiculous on its face. Less ridiculous to hear Kash Patel talk that way when you realize that he's not remotely interested in tracking down the actual elites who committed these horrendous acts of pedophilia for literally years. He's just there to cover it up. He says, with all the information we have, but we know they have millions of documents, and he has no interest whatsoever in actually looking at them. And it turns out when you, I don't know, talk to the key players in the story, you can find out a lot more. And we are now finding out a lot more about the accomplices and the other criminals in this case. Ghislaine Maxwell apparently just provided more information about them, something maybe Kash Patel could look into. Buried in a habeas petition that Maxwell recently filed in court, hoping to void her conviction, she referenced 4 potential co-conspirators and 25 men who allegedly reached secret settlements connected to Epstein's abuse and were never indicted. We don't know who they are. We don't know what acts they committed. We don't know what the settlements were, but there's apparently a whole cinematic universe of co-conspirators out there that Kash Patel apparently didn't even look into and doesn't seem particularly interested in. And this is, by the way, not even the first time that we've seen people get settlements and not be indicted. Billionaire Leon Black, a Trump ally and former Apollo CEO, apparently paid $62.5 million to the US Virgin Islands to settle claims tied to his financial dealings with Epstein. There were no criminal charges, just a very large check and a quiet exit. And let's do the context here. It's a very large check for you, for me, for a billionaire. It is nothing. It's how much his accounts go up and down on a daily basis. And you can avoid all responsibility by just cutting a check. This, by the way, if you're a QAnon person who believes that financial elites are able to be predators on little kids and then they're protected by the system, I don't know a better example of that than this. So you can potentially, I mean, again, we don't know exactly what he did. You can do all of this stuff and just cut a check for the change you found in your couch and you get away with it. Where's Marjorie Greene? Where's Dan Bongino, the great the guy going after the predators? Doesn't seem to care about billionaire Leon Black. In any event, we could potentially find out more from Ghislaine Maxwell if we could trust Pam Bondi or Tom Blanche to actually be curious about the crimes rather than just how they can shut her up about it so that Donald Trump doesn't get in any trouble. But as of right now, I don't know what we're going to learn. Thankfully, the DOJ has at least put a very clear timeline on when we'll see the remaining documents. They said in a court filing on Tuesday, they expect to release the remaining documents in the near term. They did not provide a specific date for when they would do it. So I was being sarcastic before. We may never see those documents. Sharon, what do you think?
You're not going to see them. And I think Ghislaine Maxwell has more leverage now than ever before that they're not going to turn over the documents, and she'll probably be getting out soon because that's going to be the only way to shut her up unless she decides to off herself like her friend Epstein did. Well, she's going to probably just get out and live out her life and go back, overseas or wherever there's no extradition, and we'll just do away with the sexual abuse of children. because that doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all.
They're certainly not acting like it matters. And by the way, eventually I feel we're going to be able to do a super cut of every Wednesday, you coming in saying, you're not going to see the documents. You're not going to see the documents.
No,
and every
you're not
week
gonna
you're
see the
proven right.
documents.
Yeah, 100%.
Ja, hej då. Ha en bra dag.